Yo, this is me, tossing and turning all night, unable to sleep no matter how hard I try. Why? Well, you see, when I was a kid, flash games were the most accessible games on the planet. So long as you had a connection to the internet, you had access to a cargo ship's worth of free games. And the other day, I came across a TikTok that reminded me of all my favorites from back then. This TikTok brought back a bunch of memories of a lot of great Flash games, and I really want to play them. But yeah, Flash is dead. And ever since this moment, I have become obsessed with thoughts of playing a game like this. And now, here we are, tossing and turning for hours tonight. But hold up, I've been teaching myself to code since I was 13 years old. I've made space games, online games, and even machine learning games. I don't have to subject myself to this torture. So instead of pretending to sleep, I decided to get out of bed and make the game that I want to play. Alright, so I figure it's a better use of time to get out of bed and try and make the game versus just rolling around for hours. It's a waste of my life. However, we have an issue, and it's kind of a big one. There is a hard limit for how much time we have to make this game, because I have something I have to take care of in the morning. So let's just say that we have until the sunrise to complete this game. It's about 2:30 a.m. and the sunrise is at about 6:30 a.m. where I'm at, which means we have about 4 hours to complete this game. It's not a lot of time, but I have a lot of confidence that we can make something out of this. Now, I don't know how many of you guys are old enough to remember the Toonami/Cartoon Network web games that were up back in like the early 2000s. Those games were low-key bangers, yo. Most of them were like really simple games, you know, based around like rock, paper, scissors or press one button auto runners and stuff like that. But I don't know, there's something about the design of them, maybe because it was tied in with IPs that I loved, that make those games really memorable to me. So, you know, I think they're simple enough. What I want to do is to go look through a lot of those games and think of one that I want to try and recreate in some way. I think we can do it. I think we can do this. So I poured me a cup of freshly stomped watermelon juice and begun scouring the internet for early 2000s web games. Man, watching all these videos it's like time travel, you know? It takes me back to when I was a really young lad playing these games with not a care in the world. Yo, this game was so tight. Yo, we were deprived of Dragon Ball Z games back when we were kids. This game was so tight. I think it's a bit too complex for this little game jam we're trying to do, but it's definitely super tight. Bravo, this game is phenomenal. Whoever designed this game, I hope they're living a really happy, comfortable life right now. And after looking through 70 various Cartoon Network games, I was finally ready to try and move forward with a game that I wanted to take inspiration from. Okay, so I just spent the better part of an hour looking through 70 different Cartoon Network, Toonami, Nickelodeon Flash games from back in the day, and there are 3 top contenders that I think we can do in the amount of time. It's currently about 3:20. The sun rises at about 6 a.m. here, so we have less than 3 hours, but I think we can ship something. The question is, which one do we go with? And after considering these top 3 for a few minutes, I decided on this game idea for 3 key reasons. 1, it was all happening in one scene. 2, it wasn't super animation heavy, both things in which can really balloon a project. And 3, its theme is all about action, baby, which I love. And real quick, how this game works is pretty simple. You first choose one quadrant you want to move to, then you choose the attack you want to do, and then finally, which quadrant you want to do your attack. Yes, it's pretty luck-based, but honestly, a lot of these early web games were practically low-stakes gambling for kids. But if you were to skin a casino with Dragon Ball Z even to this day, I'd personally probably be rushing down to my local casino, chain smoking with the rest of them. And so, I put my head down deep into the keyboard, arched my back, and got to work. I started with the basics, setting up the scene. But then I started to ask questions like, how exactly do I want this to look? The stage has to be divided into quadrants, but I don't want the characters to be flying in the sky like in the Dragon Ball Z game. So I made the 4 quadrants on the floor and found the perfect angle for it. Then I started to work on the UI, things like the health bar and character icons. And so far, things are looking pretty good. Alright. Just to check in here, it's about an hour left until the sun rises, and I might have been a bit too confident in my abilities, shall I say. We've made some good progress, but I think I'm gonna need a few more hours for this to cook. I don't know, we'll see what happens. And then I start to work on the action buttons and that whole UI. I had some hiccups trying to lock down exactly what I wanted to do for this, but finally got something working. On the left is the help display. On the right shows which actions you've chosen, and in the middle is where you choose what actions you want to do. Pretty straightforward. And there goes the sun peeking around the mountains. I'm probably halfway done with this game. I'm not gonna make it. And then I added in some environment art, because if a game's not pretty, no one's gonna click on it. I put just a little thought into the moves and strategy that I wanted to be in this game, and oh, yikes, the time. Alright, and I think that is officially time. If you look through the window behind me, the sun is up, the crickets have called it a night, the birds is chirping. I think we've hit time. And this is why I don't really like doing like timed game jams type of deals, because I can never hit them. But I'm gonna stop this project here. I do have other stuff that I have to focus on, so I can't continue working on this. Unfortunately, I failed the game jam and ran out of time. And I want to thank you all for watching. Maybe next time. Psych! You didn't think I was really going out like that, did you? Psh, the story continues. Actually, the continued story is a little depressing. Every once in a while, I have a little game dev oopsie that prevents me from making the project that I wish to make. And unfortunately, that happened with this project. After this game jam, I went out and ran my errands, but when I got home, I was still excited, so I worked on this game more. I made some progress adding things like the visual effects for attacks, damage controllers and such, and I got to the point in which all that was left was just like animation and a menu. Of course, with it being any level of polish, my coder brain said, I'll get to it next week, which then turned to 2 weeks, and then 4 weeks, and then 3 months, and now here we are 2 years later, and the hard drive that stored this project file has been corrupted. No, I didn't back it up on GitHub, I'm sorry. So, unfortunately, I won't be able to give you that banger recreation Flash game that I wish I could be able to give you, but take this concept art of what could have been, and bear with me as I promise that we'll get them on the next one.